Wig? No wig. Wig? No wig. Wig? No wig. I really can't decide. You don't know, you damn well should know. My name is Ragreynolds, and today I'm responding to this video by Riley J. Dennis, and it's a video about call-out culture, so let's just jump right into it.
Hey everybody, so today we're talking about call-out culture, the #1 culture recommended by dentists. This video has nothing to do with dentists. Let's move on, alright? So here's the thing, if you have existed on the internet at all, you've probably seen someone getting called out. It's pretty simple, it's like someone says something problematic or mean or hurtful or something, and another person calls them out on it. It says that's not okay, you can't say that.
So basically call-out culture is people telling other people what they can and can't say. Got it.
But you know it's not going to end right there, because it's the internet, and so there's going to be some back and forth, and some yelling, and people aren't going to be happy, and flame war. And there's a lot of aspects to this that I want to talk about, but I guess the thing that we should start off with is that I don't think calling out people is always a bad thing. In fact, sometimes I think that it's necessary or helpful.
You know, right off the bat, I'm kind of confused as to where you're going. Your stance on this is kind of unclear. From what I was assuming and what I saw in the title, it seemed like you were saying that most people were problematic and needed to be called out, but this contradicts what I thought you would have been talking about, but I feel like you're going to go on to contradict that.
When people are saying horrible, horrible things, I think it's useful to tell them that what they're saying is hurtful and to explain to them why.
Okay, so yes, as I thought, you're not advocating against calling people out. Why else would you call someone out other than thinking they said something horrible? But you see, the problem with calling someone out on the basis that you've just stated is who's deciding what is horrible and what is right to say and what's not right to say? Who is deciding what is appropriate for each situation?
And probably because it's the internet, you won't get to have a productive discussion about it, but I still think we can't just sit there and be complicit while people say awful things.
You're saying because it's the internet, you're probably not gonna have a reasonable conversation with someone, but you can't just sit by and allow them to say it. Then what's the point? Why do you have to say something if you know it's not going to achieve anything? Literally, if you're going to argue with someone that you know is never going to change their mind, you're wasting your time. If someone hates gay people and has been raised hating gays and thinking that being gay is a sin, then what's the point in even arguing? Reason isn't going to change this person's mind. All you're doing is wasting your time, getting emotionally worked up, and causing that person to also maybe hate you. You're not accomplishing anything reasonable with that course of action. So you're best sitting saying nothing. You are not morally righteous because you say that is wrong and you need to stop it. All you're going to do is cause conflict.
So I'm not saying we should never call people out, I'm just saying that the way in which we do it, we need to be careful about. Because sometimes it feels like calling someone out is less about convincing them as it is about just making you feel good that you're on the moral high ground.
Well, you know, pretty much everyone who tries to call someone out for something they've said, they know they're never going to change that person's mind, especially with the attitude, the way they call them out. If you call someone out saying, you're a racist because you said this, you're a sexist because you said or did this, you're never going to get anywhere. All you are doing is arguing with someone and taking the moral high ground. You're trying to put yourself above them by saying that you are better than them. You know what's morally right and they don't. You're trying to almost assert your superiority and your morality over another human being. If you really want to change someone's mind about something, you don't call them out. That is not the correct course of action. The correct course of action would be to sit down with them, challenge their ideas. Don't call them out. You see someone making a video about something you disagree with, you don't go to the comments and say, this video is racist, this video is problematic, you are this. That is attacking a person's character. That is not changing their mind, that is not doing anything. They will take it as a personal attack and nothing will change. All you will do is create conflict. What you need to do is speak to the person on a closed forum, somewhere private, where you can discuss freely without having negative attention pouring into both of you, or either side. You need to have it on an equal platform where no one is judging the other. You need to have a discussion where no one feels attacked. But when you call someone out, the phrase itself even suggests that you're attacking a person. If you call someone out, that is not a polite thing, that is not a nice thing.
Like, it just feels like a competition sometimes. Like, people are trying to prove that they're the most woke. And so everything that someone else says, they're like picking it apart and talking about all the problematic aspects and saying that that person is horrible because they've said those things. And don't get me wrong, some people say horrible things and they're probably bad people as well. And that's a real thing that happens, but it's not everyone who says problematic things, because we're all problematic and we all say problematic things.
Can you just speak for yourself? Like, who is deciding what is problematic and what isn't? How do you differentiate between a problematic person and a horrible person? Like, you just flashed an image of Donald Trump on the screen. What exactly has Trump done or said that makes him more horrible than someone else who says or does the same things that he has said or done? You can't just say that some people are horrible people and others are just saying some problematic things. There's this double standard here. It's these people you really don't like, if they say these things, they're horrible people. But if my liberal friend says fag or calls something gay one time in the wrong context, then they're just being a little problematic and need to be called out. But someone like Trump, nope, horrible person.
Like, there's a difference between someone who knows what they're saying is problematic, like they've been called out multiple times and they just keep saying it and they stand by it and they defend it. That's a problem.
What's such a problem with that? What you just described just means that someone has a different opinion than you do. If someone isn't stopping their behavior because you're calling them out, if someone's saying something that you disagree with or think is wrong and you keep calling them out on it and telling them not to say that, if they don't stop saying it, it's because they disagree with you. It's not because they're a horrible person. I mean, maybe they are a horrible person, but that's not why. The reason is because they disagree with you. Or it could be they don't like it when people are attacking them and calling them out publicly and trying to shame them over their actions and what they've said.
But there's nothing you can do about that. If you can't convince the person, you can't convince them. We can't, like, forcibly change people's minds. They're free to believe whatever they want. So what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, you're free to believe whatever you want, but if you don't believe what I believe, then you're a horrible person.
But then there are people that will change their minds and they'll grow as individuals and become better people. And I think it's unfair to then go back and say, look at what you used to say, because they changed.
What? Like, you look at what they used to say. Well, Donald Trump, it was 11 years ago. How do you know he still says those things? You don't know that. He's apologized for it. He says he's not proud of his actions. So, going by your exact logic, what you just said, it's not fair to go back and judge someone on that. You're defining a good person as someone who agrees with what you think is problematic, and someone who doesn't agree with what when you call them out, they're a horrible person. And you're judging people based on your own opinions, your own views on things. You can't do that.
And I feel like this is just a million times worse with the internet. Like, I love the internet. The internet does a lot of good, but it also, like, keeps a record of, like, everything you've ever said. So if you, like, tweeted one problematic thing in, like, 2012, like 4 years have passed. You may have, like, completely forgotten about it, and you don't hold that view anymore, and someone's gonna go way back to 2012 and be like, look at what you said, you're a horrible person.
Seriously, your side, the leftist side, are the worst for this. You go back 11 years ago to something Donald Trump says. You go back 25 years ago to something this other celebrity says. You go back 3 years to something someone posted on their Twitter. You people are the worst for this. You can't just decide that because someone you like says something back then, or someone that's on your side now said something back then, that is okay, and vice versa is wrong. It's a complete double standard. You're saying it's okay for people you like and your friends to say horrible things in the past so long as they're different now, but if it's someone that you don't like, they can't have said horrible things in the past, or else they're still horrible now.
And I feel like now people are going to think that I have, like, one very problematic tweet waiting in 2012, but that was just a random example. Maybe I do, I don't know. But, like, I'm nervous to even give an example of an individual because I feel like if I bring someone up, someone's gonna be like, oh, this is how they're problematic, and here are the horrible things that they've said.
But Riley, you're not scared to bring up an example of an individual. You already have. You already flashed Donald Trump's picture in your fucking video. That's an example of a human being. You can't just disregard him because you don't like him. You've done the very thing that you said you didn't want to do. And you already did it.
And yes, I get it. Like, it is important to recognize when people are problematic and not support people who are like openly being very hurtful or doing bad things. But I also think that if people have apologized and changed, especially if they said or did stuff when they were much younger, I think we should, like, give them a second chance and believe them that they have changed.
Then why aren't you giving Donald Trump a second chance? You just said if they apologise and say they've changed, give them a second chance. How do you know he hasn't changed? He said that he's ashamed of what he said in those tapes from 11 years ago. You're going against everything you're saying. You actually sat there after recording this video, so maybe you'd forgotten what you'd said when you were recording it, but you edited this video. You sat there editing this video, putting a picture of Donald Trump's face flashing on the screen multiple times throughout this video, yet you still kept in these lines. You still hold this belief.
Like, there are a lot of people who get access to Twitter and other social media when they're like 10, 11, 12 years old. Oh my god, I am so glad I did not have Twitter or was making videos when I was like 12, 13, 14, even like 15 or 16. Like, I don't remember exactly what I remember, but I'm sure I was very problematic.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and just guess and assume that 12, 13-year-old you was much more tolerable than the you of today.
Do you remember like years ago when people would say that's so gay when they meant that's so stupid? And like obviously that's offensive and hurtful to gay people, and it like makes gay synonymous with stupid, and like we all understand that's problematic now.
What exactly is problematic about that? Seriously. I have never heard of a gay person be offended or hurt by that. That is ridiculous. You know that gay is meaning stupid. We're not talking about gay people being horrible. We're not talking about gay being wrong. We're using gay as a completely different word. Gay was also used as another word. Gay also means happy. It means you're happy. I'm gay. It means I'm happy. I'm upbeat. I'm joyful. So why is it that gay can't also mean stupid? Words have the meaning you give to them. Words by themselves are not offensive, they're not sexist, they're not racist, they're not homophobic. What matters is intent. So if I use the word gay to say to my friend, oh, you're so gay, it's just a boyish insult, it doesn't mean that I'm hating on gay people. It's whatever meaning I give to it.
I don't feel like I know anyone who says that now.
This video is so gay.
But when I was in middle school, I defended that phrase. Like, I used it, and people told me it was wrong, and I was like, no, it's not. It's a totally different meaning.
Oh, it seems like Ragreynolds was right once again. 12, 13-year-old you sounds far more tolerable than the you of now. You sound like you're far more in tune with what is right and what is wrong in the world.
And I was on like MySpace and stuff, but like if I had been making YouTube videos and I made a video like defending my position on that, if that still existed now, that would be very bad.
Why would that be bad? You're telling people right here in this video that you used to believe that. That is the exact same thing as having that video published back then. There's really no difference between those two things. And if anything, that would make your narrative a little better here. It would mean, oh look, I used to believe this thing, and now I believe this thing because I was called out on it or whatever. But no, you're saying you don't want people to know, but you're telling them.
And I would be the problematic fave, and people would like drag up that video from years ago and be like, look what Riley used to say.
Yeah. They would say, look what Riley used to say, and look what Riley says now.
But I've grown and changed and evolved since then, and that is like the furthest thing from my beliefs. Like, I believe so many different things from when I was a kid, and that's just how life works. We're all gonna learn and change. No one is born unproblematic. I mean, no one is unproblematic.
I'm pretty sure everyone is born unproblematic. No one is born thinking, oh, those gays are horrible. No one is born thinking, oh, all black people should go die. People aren't born with opinions. So If you aren't born with opinions, you obviously can't believe problematic things. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
But we're all unlearning this stuff as we grow up. We have to unlearn transphobia. We have to unlearn fat phobia. We have to unlearn homophobia.
This might be the most ridiculous thing you've said so far in the video. Unlearning is not something you should be preaching. No one should unlearn anything. You should be learning to change things. You should be learning new sides to argument. You should be learning and experimenting with new ideas. But you shouldn't be unlearning anything. Sure, if someone thinks all gay people are horrible, you don't unlearn that all gay people are horrible. What you do is you learn the opposite side of that argument. You learn that why other people say that gay people aren't horrible. And what you do from there is you still have that knowledge of why you thought that way in the past, and you also have the newfound knowledge of why you now think that gay people aren't horrible. You don't unlearn that gay people are horrible. What you do is you learn new things that changes your opinion. You should never unlearn anything. If you unlearn that gay people are horrible, then you are now no longer going to understand the argument that gay people are horrible. And if you don't understand that argument, you can't reason with these people.
These are all things that we grow up with, and we have to work to rid ourselves of.
No, we don't have to work to rid ourselves of these things. These are not things that we all grow up with. I was never told when I was growing up that gay people are bad. If I was gay, that it would be okay. I was always told that women are just as good as men. I was never raised with these horrible homophobic views. I was never raised with racist views or sexist views. And you're trying to speak for everyone in the world. Maybe some people are. Of course some people are. But that doesn't mean everyone is.
Like, I'm still working on it myself. I am by no means perfect. I say the wrong things a lot. I try to do as best as I can, but I'm not perfect. So all I'm saying is that yes, if someone is saying really bad things, we need to talk about it, we need to address it, we need to explain why it's bad and try to have a civil discourse about it and maybe change some people's minds.
I completely agree with everything you just said. We should try and have a civil discourse with them, but that does not mean we should call them out. There is a tremendous difference between those two things. If you call someone out, as I already said, it means you're attacking them, you're trying to shame them. Whereas if you have a civil discourse with a person, it means you're sitting down with them and saying, okay, you think this, why do you think this? Here's what I think, here's what these other people think, here's why I think that, and this is why I think you're wrong. You don't call someone out and say, you're racist because you believe this, and you should now believe what I believe, or else you're a horrible person. That's not how you should deal with this sort of thing.
But I don't think we need to attack individuals or try to make everyone problematic and dig into their history about it. And I especially think that if someone said or did stuff when they were younger, and they're now older and have apologized and are trying to do better, I think we should be okay with that and we should accept them and understand that people change over time.
What you just said goes against everything you've been saying this entire video. If people can change over time and they've apologized, i.e. Donald Trump, then why aren't you accepting of him? Why aren't you giving him that second chance? Why are you still saying he's a horrible person? And to add on to that, you said you don't need to attack individuals. That's what you're doing when you're plastering Donald Trump's face there. You're attacking individuals, meanwhile saying we shouldn't be attacking individuals.
Clearly some people are just going to give a shallow surface level apology, probably continue saying the same things and doing the same things just behind closed doors so they can keep a good public perception of themselves.
So again, you flash Donald Trump's face, and I'm not even trying to defend Donald Trump, I'm just simply trying to get you to understand what you're doing here. You're saying if they apologize and give them a second chance, but now you're saying that his apology means nothing. How do you know that his apology wasn't sincere? How do you know that he didn't mean what he said? How do you know he's still doing these things behind closed doors? You have absolutely no evidence. You're assuming things, and you can't just assume this sort of thing about people.
But that's not everybody. I think most people have the capacity to change for the better. And I don't know, I just want to believe that people can be good and can change, and I don't think that's that wild of an idea.
Maybe it would help if you didn't spend 5 minutes prior to this talking about how everyone is born problematic and horrible and how they need to change to be good.
So moral of the story, I guess, is that people can change their opinions.
Of course people can change their opinions. It's not a hard thing to believe.
I took a lot of time to say that one simple thing.
Yes, you certainly did.
So what about you? What problematic things have you said or done in the past, and what convinced you to change your mind?
Oh boy, what could I have possibly said? I know I certainly haven't changed very much, and I'm certainly not sorry for anything I've ever said, but what could I have possibly said? constantly telling people that women actually have more rights in the Western world than men. And people are always shocked when I say that, or anytime anyone else has ever said that, people always rush in and say, no, that's not true, women are oppressed, and women are this, and women are that, and feminism will fix it, and